Hey, good afternoon. As we start to sort of look at a whole new different dynamic in terms of this whole faith at home concept, strategies to what that might be about. It's even hard to begin to talk about and discuss for a variety of reasons, because there appears to be a lot of people that are writing about it. But as I talked to different pastors, and actually even last year I had the opportunity to go down to Texas and visit a lot of different churches, and there doesn't really seem to be a lot of practitioners right now. Tons of conferences, tons of blogs, tons of websites, tons of articles, tons of books, but not necessarily a lot of people that are putting it into practice in terms of the church. I know there's a lot of families that are, and I know that there's probably some churches that are as well. But sometimes we're in a different context than a lot of us are at. So what I really want us to look at quickly here today, and I want you to take a poll that you will find down here as well, a few polls regarding this. Is I'm trying to do some more research and development in this whole area, because this has been a process now of about 2.5, 3 years. And there are days where it almost seems like this is kind of a bit pointless, and it would make more sense to return to default mode and to do what is easy, because that's what I believe at times parents expect. Working with a generation of parents that had a youth ministry experience, and it appears that a lot of them just ultimately want a place for their kids to be safe, and a place for their kids to have some sort of a spiritual experience, whatever that might be. The fact is this, and the stats are true, and the reality is, after doing this for almost 20 years, and as I look back on my youth ministry experience and see many of the kids that I had the opportunity to minister to and be what I thought at that point the primary spiritual influence, they're totally disengaged. Many of them from their faith, from God, from the church, from having a real passion or making a difference in this world. And I honestly think a lot of it goes back to the fact is that somewhere along the line, the church has made a real mistake or a disservice. I came across an article recently, and I want to share it real quickly, because I think it describes my heart and where I feel I am at, where I feel the church is at to some extent. So just listen to what it says. It says this: for too long, the church has been in the wrong business. I'm not particularly sure when this happened, but the church has stepped into the role of primary spiritual leader in the life of children and students. Search the scriptures and you will find no support for the role the church has been playing. So why do we wonder why such a huge majority of kids walk away from their faith as they enter adulthood? The church must reactivate the family. And that's really what I want to talk about, and us discuss, and part of what those polls down below I've been talking about are about, is how do we begin to re-engage? How do we begin to reactivate the family? I know it is going to be a long process. We are trying to change the DNA and the culture of the North American church. And if you were brought up in a system that says drop off your kids and let the church be the primary spiritual influence, what you get. And I think we are seeing more and more the consequences of a formula or a method that hasn't necessarily worked all that way. He goes on to say, reactivate the family means to help parents actively participate in the spiritual formation of their children. We have to see ourselves as a catalyst to help parents to do their job. If we don't, then we will continue to lose the youngest generation to apathy, cynicism, and resentment. This is going to take a lot of undoing. So many children's pastors and student ministries pastors are hypocrites when it comes to parental involvement. We complain that parents aren't involved or doing their job yet. We don't offer any opportunities for parents to step up in the home. Many parents don't take the reins simply because they don't know how to do what we know so well. I'm not convinced that even student ministry pastors, children's pastors, and this is not a overarching statement, but from a lot of the ones that I'm meeting with, they're as lost as parents are. And a lot of them are young And this isn't even really on the radar, but they're confused and they're frustrated and concerned about all the kids that are disengaging and the families that are disengaging. We have to believe in parents. And so if you're a parent that's looking at this afternoon or tonight or whenever you're looking at it, I want you to know, especially if you are part of our ministry at Center Street, I believe in you. And I think the reason I believe in you so much is now I am a parent. Our attitude towards parents will determine our entire approach toward ministry to the family. If you believe in the potential of parents, it will cause you to change the way you program. For many years, parents were my adversary. They were the enemy. No longer. I am one. I understand the stress. I understand the temptation to just disengage. I understand a lot of different things and the perspectives of a parent. So where do we go from here? Well, he goes on quickly just to say this. Why does this have to happen? Why does this have to happen? On the best case scenario, we know that we have only about 40 weekends a year with a child. And that is true. In most of our churches, that's a little more than 40 hours. I would say that probably for us at Center Street, we could probably double that to some extent and go between 80 to 100 hours. But listen to this. This is crazy. Parents, on the other hand, have 3,000 hours a year to invest in their kids. Do the math. Who has the most influence? Wouldn't it serve the mission and strategy of our church to leverage this great influence in the lives of our kids? What if only 10% of our parents truly wanted to know how to lead their kids spiritually? Our impact would increase at an exponential rate. So doesn't it make sense for us to invest more people, time, and resources towards equipping the greatest influence in the lives of our kids? And that is the family, that is the parent. And I have a lot of parents, when I get the opportunity to sit down and chat with them, they have every excuse in the book, and I understand that. I have excuses at times too. And the excuse that really messes me up sometimes is when they say, well, my kids don't want to be a part of my life. Parent, this is the last thing I'm going to say as we looked at reactivating the family. That is a lie. Do never believe that your kids do not want to have a relationship with you. Yes, they are teenagers or becoming teenagers. They are teenagers. They're going through a time where they're trying to gain their own independence. But to walk away and to raise the white flag at that point in time in their life, you're setting yourself up for major heartache. Your kids need that relationship. They need that role model. They need that spiritual guidance and emotional guidance and social guidance and a relational guidance more than ever during those times. So do not buy the lie that, you know what, I don't want to be a part of my kids' spiritual formation because they need to do it on their own. No, they need to do it with you. We need to learn how to reactivate the family. So please take the polls below. We'll continue talking about this a bit. I don't know how many practical ideas I can give you, but we got to start the conversation and figure out how to stem this tide of families and parents sort of disengaging and really compartmentalizing their faith. This has got to be a 24/7 thing. We got to figure out somehow how to do it. And more importantly, we need to seek wisdom from God of how He wants to use us to redeem this world, because that's ultimately what we're here for. So anyway, have a great weekend, and please answer the polls below, and blessings on you all.